Between its demanding tactical battles, deep class system, and social sim elements, Fire Emblem Three Houses can seem a bit overwhelming. If you don't know what you're doing, you and your students could be at a significant disadvantage. Here's some tips that could give you an edge in Fire Emblem Three Houses. After you pick your house, Black Eagles for life, you'll be assigned to a group of students, but eventually you'll be able to recruit students from other houses. In order to recruit someone, you'll need to talk to them and complete a basic skill check. If your bond and skills are high enough, they will agree to join your class. I'd recommend recruiting all the characters you like as soon as possible because there's no telling where they might end up later in the game. Terrain conditions can make a huge difference in Fire Emblem. Trees make your ground units harder to hit but decrease their movement range, standing in fire will naturally harm characters over time, and sand makes it really hard for your mounted units to move. But there are ways to use terrain to your advantage. Some classes, like the Bishop, are immune to fire, for example, while mounted units can temporarily dismount to better traverse sand. These items will give you a brief description of who they belong to, and you must return them. When you return a lost item to a student or faculty member, your bond with that character will increase, and if they're in your class, they will gain a bit of motivation. Lost items typically appear where someone was hanging out the month before, so if you get stuck on one, think back to who might have been in the area. If you find a lost item for someone who already has max motivation, I would consider waiting to return it until after their motivation drops. It can be tough building up Byleth's skills since you can't directly teach them like you can with your students. If you do need to level up a certain skill, professors scattered around the monastery can give Byleth one-on-one lessons. However, I wouldn't worry too much about Byleth's skills when it comes to which class you should aim for. Without spoiling too much, things will fall into place eventually. Support levels and conversations are back, and they function pretty similarly to before. As you battle and bond with your students, you will unlock conversations that rank up support levels. Not only will you learn more about your students, but you'll get a stat bonus when 2 or more friends are near each other on the battlefield, so make sure to check the support menu often. Don't forget to manage your unit's abilities before battle. As a character levels up in different skills, they unlock abilities that correspond to what they've learned, like better stats when wielding an axe, or higher avoidance when using magic. The abilities have to be manually equipped, so make sure you've slotted in abilities that match the unit's current class and loadout before you start fighting. Probably one of the most important battle tips in this video is to use ZR to see the range of your enemies. When you press ZR, you will see purple outlines around tiles. If a unit is inside one of those purple tiles, that means the enemy is within reach of your unit. You might even want to leave this on throughout the entire battle, especially if there are Pegasus and Wyvern units on the battlefield. If you aren't sure how to spend your time during a free day in-game, I recommend sharing a meal or two with your students. This is a good way to bond with them, increase their motivation, and build up your professor level. Eventually, you'll unlock a blacksmith in the marketplace. Here you can strengthen and repair your weapons. Keep in mind that repairing weapons will cost you gold and smithing stones. I wouldn't recommend repairing every weapon as it can eat through a lot of resources and gold, but there are some weapons you get later that are worth repairing. You can also forge rusted weapons you find on the battlefield into usable weapons with some gold and materials. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a complex game, especially if you're unfamiliar with the series. But once you get the hang of it, it's a deeply satisfying tactical RPG. Hopefully these tips helped, and if you have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.